Hi, everybody. Sean here. And I wanted to give you a response to a question I got today. I'd like to start sending those out more as videos. I've already been posting them for a long time now. When I send somebody a response and they go, oh my goodness, that was just what I needed to hear, and I think that it's a response that could be helpful to other people, I post it on our kind of special blog that's called Letters to Myself. It's kind of an unusual blog because it's only my responses, my text responses, my Facebook group responses, my email responses to people who come up with a question or come to me with a challenge, or just as part of our work together. And so after you watch this video, there'll be a link down below where you can click and go straight to that Letters to Myself blog. And it's kind of a fun mosaic blog where it just has these headings and you can scroll around almost like a newspaper and see what you'd like to read, or you can even do the search and put a topic in, and it will reformat everything and come up with only the sort of newspaper that has the ones you're focused on, at least if they include the keywords you're searching for. However, I'd like to just answer this question and send it out on video because I think it's relevant to the people that are in this work, especially starting out. Once you get going and you start doing it, you realize there's a lot there. But sometimes in the beginning, especially people that have already done a lot of spiritual study, practice, seeking inner work on themselves, counseling work, if you've already tackled blame and anger and judgment, you may find that it's a little hard in some cases to really come up with something to work on if you're looking for a situation where you feel triggered. And you will start to become much more sensitive to the reactions in your body that you want to attend to that are separating you from this current reality, from yourself and from others. But for now, I'm actually just going to read the question of one of our, a new person who's just started working with me in our 4 Wednesdays Unity group. And I love this question because I've had it a lot over time. And I'm actually, instead of just winging it, I'm going to read my response. And I don't have a fancy teleprompter, so I'm just going to actually be reading. But I wanted to just do this as a video. So hang in there. It's just going to be a few minutes, but it's a really important answer, especially if you're having trouble finding what you want to work on, or if you're used to just beating yourself up and not feeling that you're angry or judgmental of others, that you tend to turn it on yourself, which was the case with this question. So her question was, I know this sounds wrong, but I'm racking my brain for someone I'm upset about, and there's nothing there. The only problem I have is with me. I haven't tried it yet, but I suppose the worksheet might work if I do it with myself. Thanks for your help. So let me come back. So I wrote, thanks so much. Glad you asked. Turning the judgments on ourselves is probably the biggest source of pain for most of us, especially if we've already done our work on blame and anger at others. When we cover the wheel of self-love on week 3 of this group, I think that will really apply and show you what to do with blame of yourself, with shame, regret, guilt. And these worksheets also do work when you turn them on yourselves, but that's a little further along. If possible, we'd like to really focus on some way that you're pointing the finger outward, or something that you wish would or could change in order for you to be happy, calm, fearless, all of that. So if you are blaming yourself, what I have found is the extent to which you're angry at yourself or disappointed or stuck in regret or guilt or self-loathing and wishing you had done something differently is also happening in equal measure aimed at other situations. You've just driven that part underground and don't see it yet because somewhere along the line in our childhood programming, we learn to turn it on ourselves. Maybe it wasn't safe to confront whoever was doing something that we might have, when you're around a baby and they're angry or they want something, they just belt it out. They don't care who they hurt along the way. They just say, hey, over here, do this, do that, pay attention to me. I need this. I'm angry at you for that. And you can really just see it. And somewhere along the line, we learn to do something different. So maybe it felt it wasn't safe to confront someone or ask, to confront the treatment we were getting, or we were taught to doubt our own perceptions if they didn't match those of the grown-ups or even our friends who are around us, or society. So we started to believe something must be wrong with us and believe we could help ourselves by turning the criticisms inward. That's one reason the self-critical beliefs, which is my whole specialty, are so tenacious, because they honestly believe they're helping us. We think, well, if I didn't beat myself up, I'd be an even worse person. So we'll get to that later. But if you can find a situation where you feel upset with yourself, and then see if you can go underneath. See if you can find any anger at the situation itself, at another person, maybe at whatever is greater than you, that this is even happening. And that you just, if you were to really look under your anger and self-criticism, could you be angry or find that you're actually blaming or wishing something else or someone else would be different? And you just never felt safe expressing that. So suppose it was really, really safe to say exactly what you feel and really get down to the part of you that feels oppressed, that feels like a victim of other people's choices, that feels like things aren't going the way you want them to go. See if you can find that under your self-criticism, because that will be the thing that's going to lead you back to yourself and to becoming the advocate for the part of you that's been getting beat up along the way. So the other thing you can do is look for just small areas of confusion or annoyance or indecision or anxiety. You don't necessarily have to find that you're upset with someone, because sometimes these tiny situations can show us our whole lives, scripts we've been playing out, what we've been doing to sabotage our own getting to the next level in our waking up and in our happiness and in our being able to accomplish what we want and be there for others in the way we want to be as well. So another thing you can do is, if you have concerns about any global or planetary or local or environmental situation, something on that level, or related to discerning your role in helping others, your role in becoming politically active, your role in standing up for someone who's being oppressed, or helping a grown son or daughter or grandchild of yours, where there's confusion or doubt about your role, and maybe even about your purpose. What are you even doing here? All of those are things that you can find to work on. So in short, anything at all that has you upset, confused, worried, wanting someone or something to change are all good things. Really start noticing, and then later on, and noting them down, write the thinking that's going on in those moments, and then come back and work them later. And for those who have done a lot of spiritual work on themselves, it becomes an even bigger responsibility and a gift to others to continue to notice the subtle ways that you are separating and disconnecting from yourself, others, or life as is. And believe in the stories of your own monkey mind. Stories that say something could be better or different than it should be, than what is happening. Of course, we can be proactive about moving things in another direction, but that argument with reality that say this shouldn't be happening, this thing is bad, those are the ones we can really go in and help out and find the thinking that's throwing us off and that actually keeps us from being proactive, because it's an argument with reality. Another thing to do if you're not finding a situation is start paying attention to any unrest in your body. So if you didn't get a chance to watch the short video I sent out earlier this week about the Beyond Mindfulness map. I'll also post a link for that with this video. So you may want to watch it and download the PDF and read it or try it out. The more you can turn inward and tune into what's happening in your body, the more you'll be able to tap into the thinking behind it. The more you'll get perceptive to where you aren't just in the flow and receiving life that comes in, pouring out love back, which is who you really are, where you're shutting down, clamping down, holding back, or over functioning, letting too much flow through you in the name of fixing something or getting people to see you the way you want to be seen, or saving someone or something where you've gone completely out of your own business, and that's creating pain for you. And then as you live this as a life practice of just recognizing and helping out that thinking that's behind the physical feelings we experience, you help out that thinking to expose the errors in its own logic. The more you do this, the more you will be of service in the world also, by being able to hold an open and clear container in yourself that's big enough for others who are in pain. Also, notice any stories that are going on while you're doing partner work in these groups, even while you're trying to do this work, about whether you're doing it right, whether you're doing it well enough. Maybe you've got a story about me. Maybe you've got a story about whatever you're trying to do here, that it's not working. So go ahead and do a worksheet on that. Harvest, even if you don't do a worksheet, just keep that little running notebook or whatever you do to start harvesting the one-liners, the judgments, the thoughts, and see, just what does your mind say in any given moment? Just short one-liners, not long journaling. So also think about the ways you feel judged by others, and then you immediately turn it on yourself, or you steamroll over any feelings of hurt or disappointment without first getting in touch with the story that you even needed their approval, or that their comments or reactions, you let them mean something about you, or about the other person, or about the future, or about the past. Start to watch any time your mind says, this is the way it is, this is the way it will be, or this is the way it was, and here's what that means about me, about life, about another. So just watch your mind making statements, and you can make any one of those into something to wake yourself up to. I had one person come to a recent retreat who had received so much indoctrination about being positive and about affirming over what was going on and about being instantly forgiving, and also even just observing things, but without really going in and changing the thinking that was coming up. Just saying, okay, thinking, let it go. And yet that same thinking really didn't have a chance to find out for itself that it had gotten hold of some erroneous beliefs. So it actually made it really hard for her to find what she could work on during the retreat. But she really enjoyed watching other people work on their stuff, and she totally got that and totally saw how relevant and helpful it was. And she gradually started to see that she had all the same stories everybody else did, but she had just kind of found a way to steamroll over them. And that by the end of the retreat, we worked on something for her. And then she went home, and it all really hit home, all the ways that it was relevant, that she could start being more happily proactive on her own behalf by honoring what wasn't happy. And all of that just started cascading in. And since then, her health and so many other things in her life have improved. So within a week of the retreat, she went ahead and signed up for the next one, because it just took a while to overcome all the feel-good spiritual dogma that had almost brainwashed her into kind of steamrolling over whatever hurts. And it seemed to be also at that point showing up as energy illnesses, physical pain, clutter, and agreeing to things in some important relationships that she didn't even really want. And now she's taking time to rewrite the programming and not jump so quickly over it, to go ahead and attend to the negative or fearful thinking. And even though during that retreat, it seemed she was constantly finding that others were just doing the best they could and was instantly forgiving them. On some level, she actually wasn't. There was this underground stuff. It was coming out sideways in ways that were making people mad at her. It was showing up in her body and elsewhere. So once she started to go in and honor where she actually was hurt or was disappointed or angry, she could even find some anger under there, especially in some old situations. I believe that is partly what helped turn around her health and let her become so much more proactive on her own behalf and started making so many important changes in her life. So as you're learning this, all you need to do for now is become the observer throughout the day and notice any emotional states that aren't quite what you would like them to be, or situations where your mind is going, wish that were different, or write down the thinking that's going on. Even small things can really show you a pattern where something in there is really hurting, or that you're applying a judgment onto others that you didn't realize. But it's also fine to go ahead and aim it at yourself for now. We can do the work on yourself, but it's also a place to start to look under that judgment of yourself and see if it were safe, if you were willing, is there something you would want to change besides yourself, someone you kind of are blaming for your situation. So starting with the judgments of yourself may be the thread to get down to the underworld of subconscious judgments of others that have probably just gone underground, and that may be attracting experiences and reactions from people that you don't understand because they're coming out sideways or in more covert ways that you're blind to. Or maybe they simply aren't there. Maybe you aren't angry anymore. Maybe there is nothing that you feel needs to change. Maybe you've done that level of work, or you were just born into it with that level of acceptance and equanimity, and that's cool too. If that is the case, then you may even still want to learn this work just so you can support others with their own stinking thinking in a much more efficient and complete way of healing whatever is going on with them. I find it really helps people who have been struggling and working on themselves for a long time. So if you have already been given this freedom, it might be fun to pay it forward. So, all right then. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much. And for those of you that were coming or thinking of coming to the Unity group, I'll see you tomorrow night or at one of the other two. We've got 3 left in this segment, and if that doesn't work, just feel free to reply to this email or reach out to me in any way. Again, those links I mentioned are below, and take care. Feel free to respond with more questions to me. All right, thank you.